This is modern homesteading. It's timber framing time.
Power tools are a double-edged sword. They cut so fast and they're so efficient and they save so much work, but on the other hand, or the double-edged side of it, is that they make mistakes very quickly also. And once a mistake is made and the membrane is cut, nothing can be done about it. It's lost. So if you're going to use a skill saw, what I typically do, and this will depend on your skill level, if you're new to skill saws and you're not real proficient with them, I would recommend you back off and leave yourself 3/16 or a quarter. Stay away from lines and hand tool and hand finish everything. As you can see here, I've set the depth right to my line. I'm a 1/16 of an inch shy of it. I'll hand tool and hand finish to the line. I can control that much better, and I'll just use the skill saw to do the bulk of the work. So we'll cut the rough cuts, finish with the hand saw, and then hand tool it to our proper dimension. We're all cribbed up and ready to notch. Raise your work to a comfortable height. What I find, I put like a 6-inch block that I've cut off from one of the old timbers. To get that up, the working height seems to be just a little bit better. A couple feet up is just about right. So you can see here, on my tenons, I always cut to the line. I leave the line. On my mortises, I cut into the line. We'll explain more of that later. But you can see here, I took the saw and I cut several sections out, top and bottom. Here is my line that I'll hand tool to this. So look, we got really close there, maybe a little closer than a guy would want to. But this timber obviously is not square, so just beware. You know, always go a little shallow. You can always recut it. So now let's knock these out and hand tool our tenon. So the tools for this process are going to be our whacker mallet. I like to use my 1.5-inch chisel. It is a better weight than the 2-inch. And then of course our big timber framing slick. Now just like a good bushcrafter or a guy who works with a knife, you always have your sheath at hand, right? You don't leave your sheath at home. When you're done using your chisel, you put it down, get in the habit of putting it back in its sheath. I cannot emphasize this enough. It's so easy to put these things on top of a timber, knock it, it goes down on the concrete, knocks the edge off your chisel. It is heartbreaking. So it's going to happen if you don't have it in the sheath. So keep it in the sheath and keep the sheath handy. So to start with, I've got my lines here, my X's, so you know, wherever I can minimize mistakes by putting crosses on things to know that anything with an X has got to go away. I'm not going to start right on my line, I'm going to start up above it about 1/4 inch and we'll start chipping big portions of this away. Once we get the bulk of it away, you know, then we can start coming down and working closer to our line. Now we can start hand tooling down to our line. Now a chisel is made the way as it is with an angle, so you can have that flat portion at the bottom and you can control the depth as you're working, as you're going. You never want to chisel this way unless you're doing a lot of work and you don't care about controlling the depth because you can't control it. This way you can. So I'm going to get in here really close to my line, and this first pass I'm going to just take a little more material, but I'm just going to lightly tap. And I can control my depth, how deeply I go. By moving the back of the chisel up. Once we get our tenon tool down really close to our lines, this is where the slick comes in. One thing that's different, how a slick is different than a timber framing chisel is you never pound on a slick. This is simply to be used by hand. And the reason why it's so wide is you get a nice broad cutting edge that knocks down all the high spots. So as you can see here really faintly, I'm really close to the line, and I can use my slick here just to simply work and flatly plane right to my line. That's why it's so important for this tool to be so sharp. You can see there, nice little shavings off there. And this is a a pleasure and a joy to use when they are properly sharpened.
Swimming in the daydream, I'm just watching from the bay. Covered in sun and I forgot my camera, wishing it was real, and I tried to
So with our mortise cut out on two sides, one thing we can do to really speed up the process is by using our 1.5" drill bit. So the 1.5" drill bit, I measure right to the center of the mortise and 3/4 of an inch or half the width of the drill bit and put a little mark right there. And I like doing this because my drill bit precisely runs right down the back of the mortise, and it really helps, it speeds up the chiseling process. My first cabin, I didn't do this so much. I pretty much chiseled everything by hand, and it can be done, but it's a very laborious and tedious process. This speeds things up significantly. Safely through another episode. A lot of conversation in the comments about people objecting to me speaking about my faith in my videos. I want you to understand that you are not entitled to these videos. The reason why you get to enjoy them and to watch them is because I have decided to create them. I control the content here. I control everything that gets put out on the Wranglerstar channel. And what you are asking me to do by separating my faith and belief from what I'm doing and what I'm sharing with you is impossible. Life is full of adversity. Without the adversity, we cannot appreciate the good times, the happiness. Without going through the dreariness of the winter, we can't enjoy those beautiful summer, spring, and fall days. It is the adversity of life, the difficulties, the things that we don't like to do that allow us to do the things that we do like to do. And so you need to think before you comment about these things, because if it weren't for what God has done in my life, if it weren't for Him pulling me out of the gutter, there would be no Wranglerstar channel whatsoever. There wouldn't be any timber frame videos that you are so enjoying watching. So I ask you to be respectful. You are not entitled to this channel, and you are not entitled to dictate to me the content that I will put up. I am no longer a Christian that is going to be rocked on his heels or be put on the defensive. I am on the offensive. For with God is before me, who can be against me? I'm tired of apologizing for my faith, and I'm not going to do it anymore. Who will stand in the gap? Who will stand for God? I will.